Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rock and Roll Brunch podcast, episode number 21. Today we are talking about what's behind the boom in iconic boomer musicians selling their music. Also, we're talking about our most anticipated records for 2022. All that, plus so much more, all on today's show. I was going to say, plus Dane's...
You wanted to say did.
I knew you did too. I could tell.
I didn't.
That's fine. I don't care. Whatever.
But Dane's got COVID. So now there it is. I didn't know if we wanted that in the the big
like
pro.
in the one that gets shared widely on social media.
Yeah.
You do like sharing the big news of the day on
right,
the intro.
right up front. Right up front. And I was like, hold on. HIPAA. Hold on. HIPAA. Don't say anything.
Guys, I know a rule about HIPAA. Did I tell you my rule about HIPAA? That it only applies
Ain't
to
no rules.
Doctors.
No, yeah, for sure.
Only losers have rules about HIPAA.
Let me tell you a thing about HIPAA. Only suckers.
It's only for squares, man. It's only for squares. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, like I said, to the Rock and Roll Brunch podcast, episode number 21. I am going to be your host for today's show. My name is Josh Marcanti. With me, as always, are two super fans of COVID, starting with Mr. Dane the Coffer Urbach.
What a weird way to...
Two COVID super fans.
I was going to say...
What's a COVID super fan?
COVID super fan. Just two guys who just, down to cough. That's what Dane, how are you?
DTC.
I'm feeling not so well this morning.
Little under the weather. Under the weather.
I am feeling not so well.
Also with me is Mr. Chris Marcanti. Chris, how are you feeling today?
I have yet to be told that I have COVID. So as far as I'm concerned, this is 2 years clean, baby.
Yep. Dane, when you got the news that your family have it, not necessarily just you, but like, what went through your head? Like what was your reaction?
It was kind of like, I don't know. It was like one of those like moments of like, it's hard to explain. It's like finally happened, like I kept telling my wife, because we were hearing all these families around us who were starting to test positive. We had a group of friends who went out and they tested positive, and I'm like, man, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
And then literally last week, everyone we know had it. And I was like, so literally the night before, I was like, it's just going to happen. And then when my wife texted me, I literally had just walked into my classroom. And she's like, Finn has it. That's our son. And I was like...
Checks out.
Well, it was kind of... At first it was like, well... And then it was like, now there's literally 36 things I have to do in the next 15 minutes to try to figure out how to deal with this. So
yeah.
Did you leave work at that point? You're like,
so
I got to back out.
Schools are weird.
This is the part we may not want to talk about.
Yeah, no, but
your classroom with COVID.
Well, no, it's pretty normal. Like I've been testing negative for COVID.
Normal.
Even like right now, I'm feeling like I've got it. But even yesterday 2 days ago, I tested negative, right? So I'm going to test again today. But the school said if you don't have symptoms, if you're testing negative, just show up. And I'm like,
It's that
really?
It's that thing that they want to keep society moving. Probably kind of thing.
Yeah. And then so I was there for a couple days until my wife couldn't be a caregiver anymore. So I came home.
Oh.
But the thing that's weird is like now they've changed the guidance to that 5-day rule. So like if I'm technically exhibiting symptoms on Saturday, I can come back on Wednesday and just wear a mask. And I think that's kind of weird too. So it's all kind of weird right now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird time to be alive.
Sure.
Also,
is.
I can't get over the language of testing positive. For some reason, that's like, it feels like AIDS to me, where I don't, and maybe that's the wrong thing, but it feels like some sort of disease that you've caught.
To me,
you're like, listen.
To me, it's always, it's like, it reminds me of like like Barry Bonds testing positive for steroids. Like,
Yeah.
look at his head. He's doing steroids.
Oh, he's clearly doing steroids.
Yep, tested positive.
That's what I can't get
Guy's
over the
cracking
language
bats
of it.
over his knee. What are you talking about?
Yeah, tested positive.
All right. Well, good luck to you, sir, and your family. And if you have to bail and hop on oxygen, we will
No,
understand.
I'm good. The thing that's weird is my kids and my wife are on the other side. So
Yeah, that's nice. That's
and
actually
I'm
really nice.
on the like just starting to get worse side. So
Yeah.
we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we won't keep you any longer than
good.
than you have to.
Josh, how are you doing this morning?
Dude, I was up playing Back for Blood until after midnight, and then I was drinking coffee to stay awake at 11:30, which was just a mistake. So I was really, my brain was rocking and rolling until 1:30, and then
You've been up.
3 hours later, here we are. So,
Here we go.
What's back to blood or blood to?
oh boy,
Back
oh
back
boy.
four.
Look
back
at this.
four.
Speaking of squares,
I hope it's a
Back-
werewolf game. Is it a werewolf
is
game?
it a werewolf game?
Werewolf game. Back.
Did you ever play the game or know the game?
How does
Left?
werewolves the first thing that come to your mind? Like blood would be vampires.
Just
like,
fingers
that would be the
crossed.
first-
That's all.
Okay.
Here's hoping. Did you ever
Here's a
play,
guy that's hoping.
Did you ever
The guy
play
can
or
drink.
hear of Left 4 Dead? Does that sound familiar to you? Left 4 Dead. Okay, it's a game where
Have a nice day.
four people get. I don't know where to go for that. Four people get together and they fight in levels full of zombies, and you try to clear it, and that's it. And came out last year, and sometimes we get together and do that. Hang out with your other COVID friends doing that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Cool.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm doing very well. I meant to ask Chris. Been listening to anything good lately?
Great question. I don't think I've been listening to anything overly new. There is something very dorky that I was listening to over the Christmas season.
Oh yeah, how was everybody's Christmas and New Year's? I meant to ask. Dane, Christmas and New Year's?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah. Dane, did you get anything good?
It's fine.
I've been playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond on the Switch, so I've been playing that a lot. I also got a lot of socks because I'm becoming that one teacher who's like the sock guy.
However you find your identity,
You're cementing your legacy as the
sock guy.
guy.
I'm like all business unless I have to tie my shoe, and then you're like, whoa,
Well, slow down, this guy.
what?
He's flying off the handle.
Herbs is so cool. Look at his socks.
Yep,
Those
yep.
Pokemon socks?
Not yet. Working on it.
That seems like a mistake.
Missed
Yeah.
opportunity.
Missed opportunity.
For sure.
Thank you. Chris, what did you get? Anything cool for Christmas, by the way?
I don't
What was the fun thing?
the cool for Christmas. I got a really awesome Spider-Man book.
Hmm.
I got a lot of books this year.
Did you get any vinyl?
No, but I did buy myself a bunch of vinyl.
Oh, most interesting vinyl purchase, maybe?
Well, I bought the free throw vinyl, but I also bought the Kali Mossy vinyl because they were having some tour trouble, and I thought I'll pick up the vinyl to help them out.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's it.
I got.
I bought myself a Switch. That's what I got for Christmas.
That's
I
fine.
bought myself a Switch. Yeah.
That's fun. That's neat. I got the Brian Setzer one of his Christmas albums on vinyl. It's very cool. I'm an unapologetic Brian Setzer fan. I don't know if people think he's lame or not, but I don't. So
I like Brian Setzer.
Yeah.
We all grew up in the 90s.
I think most people don't have an opinion about Brian Setzer, where he like comes and he goes.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh yeah, that guy, and then or most people don't know that that's his song.
I just want to play guitar like him. So
You won't.
I won't. No. Not even close. Dane, what
I've
about
been
you?
around.
Listening to anything interesting?
Yeah, I've been going through this weird I've been digging into these weird little Instagram tunnels where I've been finding smaller bands that I'm interested in. I don't know, learning more about from a label side of things, but I don't know if they'll, work out. But I still am I'm finding all these cool little bands. One of them is called Ands, ANDS, and they're a Chicago band. And then another one's called Boundary Waters. and they're another Chicago band. But so both of them, I mean, just the last couple days, I've been listening to them a lot, and they're similar but different. Like a little emo-y, a little bit mathy and angular. And then I've been listening to you guys know the band Failure? They're like a band that in the 90s, it was kind of like an underground, like alt rock band in the 90s who has had a resurgence in the past like 5 years or who has kept going, I guess, maybe. And their new album is really good too.
You forget you're so much older than us, so the 90s were a big time for you.
Relevant for you.
It's true.
The Boundary Waters they're playing some sort. I just saw something by them the other day. They're playing a show with some band that I follow in like Fluorescence.
Couldn't be
like
more vague.
But then it caught my eye.
Yeah, they have a show
Boy
in
Scouts.
February or March or something that might have been rescheduled. But I don't know. I kind of accidentally found them yesterday I think it was the day before. And they have this EP called Atalanta that's very Midwest emo-y, but sounds really different at the same time too. I don't know. It kind of bridges a couple gaps for me that works really good.
Sweet.
So yeah.
I like it.
Josh, what about you?
Oh,
Dang.
A chorus of questions. It's been the Encanto soundtrack. A lot in this house.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Very good.
Haven't seen it yet. I'm still working on it.
Ooh, definitely highly recommend.
You're gonna have some time on your hands, so
The two things I wanted to bring up. I got into mom jeans finally. From somebody I work with. They know I'm into music, and they're like, hey, do you ever check out mom jeans? Like, no, I've heard of them, but I've never. So I've been listening to their record Puppy Love a lot, and really enjoying it. And then another one that I found off of one of the guys from Punk News. They put out their best of 2021, and then one of them recommended Heart and Lung. I don't know if you guys ever listened to that. Twisting the Knife Away. I was Chris. If you hadn't, I was absolutely going to recommend them to you. I think that they're really great. Like,
I'm pretty sure I've recommended them to you before.
No, that's all right.
No,
That's all right. That sounds like a goddamn lie.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, great. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoying that. And then yeah, that's it. Still every time I die. Still every time I die though. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the meat and potatoes of this one. Today we're actually gonna not be sponsored by Rolling Stone magazine, which is great.
I mean, I'd love to be sponsored by Rolling Stone magazine.
No.
That would be great.
Yes. But in this
let's
case,
not burn that bridge.
No. I'm just
No.
saying they're not giving us any money to constantly promote them. So we had to anchor. Yeah.
That relationship went elsewhere.
It went sour. No, this one's actually brought to us by CNBC. What's behind the boom in iconic boomer musicians selling their songs? If you kind of half pay attention to any relevant music news out there, or if you're a big follower of some
CNBC.
legendary CNBC or some legendary boomer artists, you've noticed that you've seen these headlines of artists selling their entire catalogs for ridiculous amounts of money. Namely, we've seen lately. We've seen where's my notes? Springsteen, Bowie. There's other ones that I'm forgetting.
The article talked a lot about Fleetwood Mac and
Fleetwood
Stevie
Mac,
Nicks and stuff, or Mick
David
Fleetwood.
Crosby.
Yeah.
Paul Simon.
And then there was actually
Call me out.
Songwriters selling their catalogs, and then taking huge payouts instead of gambling on their future, and expecting that maybe some of that would ride them out for their estate, and these guys are gonna die. they're gonna die. So they're taking out these huge paychecks.
Trying to live a little life, before they kick the can.
It's cocaine and whores all the way until they hit that grave.
I'm thinking of David Crosby here. And I'm like,
David Crosby looks like the type of guy that's into some really weird shit.
Can we? We're moving
Like he
on.
his kids showed him like manga or
No.
weird Japanese porn,
with the
and
tentacles.
he was like,
with
I need to sell everything that I own.
How much is this tentacle porn gonna cost me?
He looks like that kind of guy.
Yeah,
he looks like that kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's in some weird underground.
I don't know if you guys did
wrestling.
the same thing I did. I googled him as I was reading the article, and then like something came up about like how he was supporting Drew Barrymore at a rough time, and I'm like, I'm not going to read this. I don't want to. I'm not interested in finding out more about David Crosby. Bye, David Crosby. Back in the vault. So my question I wanted to right off the bat, for you guys, number one, we're talking, 250 million, 300 million, 500 million.
Bruce was 5, yeah.
Bruce was 5. Do these guys deserve this much? Do you think that the value is there? Should they even, if would Bruce Springsteen have made $500 million in the entire future? Long after he's gone and his estate, would he have made more than that? What do you think it's some of these payouts are worth that much for this music? Dane.
I don't think of it in terms of like how much money would they have made for the rest of their career, or will they make for the rest of their career? I think in terms
He's going to answer a question you didn't ask.
No. I think it's worth it in terms of like licensing and stuff. Like they're talking about commercials and stuff. Like, dude, how much money does it cost to be in? Does it cost Ford to like license music for a Bronco ad or something like that?
Yeah.
And I think you do that enough times, and you've easily hit $1 million. Like it's going to take 2 years for them to, cough up that much money.
I bet they pay so much more than that. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I have no idea. I guess I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like what other people are going to pay to use these songs for whatever Marvel soundtrack is coming out soon, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like all of that stuff is valuable. Yeah. So I think it is.
I think it's like you're talking about like in perpetuity though. Like it's not just this year while Marvel's hot, or
it's not just while the artist is alive. Yeah,
it's theoretically like as long as the Earth is around, this music could still be making money.
And they're making a bet that it's worth more than that, so that they'll get them return on their investment and then profit off of it. So.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think? Do you think it's these guys getting paid this much?
The reason I thought this was interesting to talk about, I think it's really important in the light of being a smaller band, but this is, in my opinion, the canary in the coal mine type stuff, where the reason people are selling their catalog is because some people think it's more valuable into the future and some people think it's less. And when you hit that point, it's sort of like a pinnacle, a turning point, where you have the people that created the value going like, something tells me this is going to be worth less in the future, so I better get my money's worth right now.
Right.
And then you have a group of people that are going, something tells me I'm going to be able to make some money off of this in the future. I better try and get it right now.
It's like investing in a stock,
100%. And so $500 million is a big, $500 million. That's a really big, that's a really big number. Do I think that the music industry has done a good job highlighting sound investments? Probably not. So and when I say it's the canary in the coal mine thing, you're going like all of these people that have enormous catalogs that are iconic catalogs are selling them for $500 million to a group of people that don't really know how to value publishing rights well, or any investments really well, going like, I don't know. That seems like a group of people that are setting themselves up to fail. By the way, and the thing this article highlights is that they did it by getting cheap debt. So you're like, all right, let's throw it all on a credit card and let's buy Bob Dylan's back catalog. You're like, this is going to end super well for these guys.
Yeah, but you said that it's people who don't know about music publishing, but they sold to Sony and Universal and
I meant
huge conglomerates and stuff like that.
Yeah, and what I mean to say is that like a group of people that that their job is to take boatloads of money and try to throw it at the wall and figure out how they can generate revenue from it because they're failing businesses and they'll continue to be failing businesses. But because debt's super cheap right now, they went like, all right, we're going to throw it on the credit card and hope to God that we make some money off of it in the future, or borrow against it, going like, we have all these, like a house. Yeah, I own all these assets. You can borrow against those assets in the future. And so I literally think it's the canary in the coal mine, and why it's an interesting conversation for younger bands is because you go, will this ever happen again? Like,
and that's what I was thinking. That entire article.
Yeah, that was
like, it's like I couldn't help but think like, what band is like? We could look in the '90s and say what band is worth like. And this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one all over again too. But what band is worth $500 million or will be from the '90s? And it might be a couple rappers, and it might be like Snoop Dogg. I don't know. But like,
I mean, you have to look at like maybe like Pearl Jam, Nirvana.
Well, yeah,
maybe,
sure. I mean, Nirvana's already worth a lot, and Pearl Jam's already worth a lot, I'm sure. But like in the 2000s, like who? Like Boys Like Girls isn't the band that's going to sell their publishing rights for anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's what I think about. And when I think about how that relates to indie bands, then like it's even worse. Like, is music valuable at all?
That's why I think it's easy for us to look at the biggest numbers, the biggest selling artists, and look at that as the story. But I agree with you guys. I don't think that's the story. I do think that it's the guys who, okay, so, in the article they said that music catalogs have proven to be recession-proof, and I was going to say pandemic. I was going to absolutely not say that right. Pandemic. The pandemic.
It's a smaller version.
Dane knows. He's got that raging in his body right now.
I've got Cove Pin.
Cove Pin? The pandemic.
Has only heightened the amount of deals being made as the music industry goes through a massive disruption caused by the shutdown of live venues and touring. So, little bands, I think, is the big story where, okay, so they're not making any music on live venues. They're not making any music on touring. They're not making that merch money like we've talked about. And maybe their catalogs are not worth anything because Sony's spending $500 million on someone else. You know what I mean? I think that's the story.
$500 million can go a long way with
500 bands,
indie bands. Yeah, exactly.
1,000 bands. Give them $500,000 each or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's something really sad about. I think this speaks to what Chris was saying, but Josh, this goes along with what you're saying too. Is like I think it was David Crosby in the article who's like, I'm not playing shows. I'm not making any money. Like, I have to pay a mortgage. I have a family.
He said,
like,
I'm selling mine also. I can't work. And streaming stole my record money.
Right.
I have a family and a mortgage, and I have to take care of them. So it's my only option. And I'm sure others feel the same.
And to me, that was like such a sad quote, because here's an icon of music, right?
Real porn addiction.
Oh my gosh. And here's an era. Here's a guy who represents a whole era of music, who like is I don't know, like looking ramen at his future and saying, I don't have one. I might as well sell some of my songs to these back to my record labels, to these record labels. And then like, I don't know if that's an icon for a generation. Like, what does that mean for a small band in an era where seems like even the biggest bands only exist long enough to play Pitchfork and then they go away? You know what I mean?
Like, I wonder if the Taylor Swifts, the Adeles of today, only the largest selling artists are going to have a chance at this, and everyone else is like, yeah, I don't make any money on streaming and I don't tour, so I'm just gonna eat ramen until I die.
Name a band who is like, or an artist like who's playing music right now that is going to be able to like live. Who's gonna be in David Crosby's position now and live uncomfortably until they can live a little bit more comfortably and it is Taylor Swift, and it's the Foo Fighters, and I'm trying to think of other rock band, Metallica. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but like it's gonna take Metallica saying like, "Fuck you, Napster! You stole our revenue from us, and now it's finally getting us. I'll sell you the rights to Saint Anger." You know what I mean? And then, but it's gonna take like a low moment, and I think many of us are gonna see music as sort of like becoming less valuable from this point on, despite whoever's buying these catalogs, right?
Ugh. Yeah, music. The idea that music could will become less valuable than it is right now, and that some of our favorite artists are also going to be struggling to pay the mortgage, and then there's just no answer for them because Sony went whoopsie daisy, Universal went, that's my bad.
I was going to say, and the other thing that this depends on, in order for Foo Fighters or Metallica or Taylor Swift's catalogs to be valuable, is that this actually pays off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if Sony doesn't end up going bankrupt because they spent $1 billion on people's catalogs and it didn't end up being a sound investment, they're like, we're not going to do that shit.
They're
again.
taking that, Chris. They're taking that Spider-Man money just straight into the music industry. So
yeah, everyone's like, "Hey, man, slow down." It's like, no. It's a cocaine.
Got this
worth
money
of, like,
burning a big old hole in my pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, yeah, if it doesn't work for these guys, they're not going to go write big checks anymore. And so you're like, I truly think this is so interesting because I really do think it's a turning point in the value of the music business. Like, we've talked about it as streaming. We've talked about it with vinyl. We've talked about all these different things. And here you really see people going like, we got one big swing left and we're going to buy, Bruce Springsteen's back catalog and hope to God it pays off in 10 years.
Do you think that they'll start buying like that they're just going to start moving through the decades closer and closer to current and be like, all right, let's eat up Madonna's now. Like, let's buy up her catalog.
John Legend just sold his.
Like,
he
what?
Did? Really?
Like, I have a feeling more.
I saw
we're
like
going to
One
hear
Republic
this in
was
news.
something. Yeah, like One Republic was in talks or something.
Oh yeah, weird. I was going to say we're going to hear more of this because more and more contemporary musicians are going to say like, I want in too.
I'm not going to make any more hits, so.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like, what's Britney Spears gonna do? You're right. Like, what's like?
She's gonna put out a big record, and
well, she might. That honestly,
we should do a Britney Spears episode. I would love to talk.
We can do a Britney Spears episode. Yeah,
guys, we can't have a meeting in the middle of an episode.
Sure, we can,
about
guys.
the next episode.
So here's what we're gonna do.
Here's what we're
gonna let's look at together. Let's maybe.
Kevin Federline. I don't know.
Anything else by K-Fed?
Yeah.
That you got you want to talk about?
Not one. I don't even know who he is, quite frankly.
Is her first husband or something?
But yeah, they're absolutely going to start sweeping through the decades and go. But that's the thing, Josh. You were saying like they're just not going to write any more big hits because that's the other way they garner money. But you garner less money now writing big hits, and so like it's a big hit today is so much less valuable than the times are changing. Like those are dramatically different.
I had a question for you guys, which is, outside of the money, outside of the, like if you outside of the fact that these guys are getting ridiculous boomer payouts, do you guys have that like punk rock like sellout feeling when you hear that like Bruce Springsteen is taking all this money? Like I don't know about. And maybe for wrong, but like I'm like, why would you sell out? Just keep your integrity, keep your life's work in your own hands. Pass it down to your children.
Family's hands, yeah.
Pass it down to your children. And do you guys have that feeling at all, Chris? You're shaking your head no.
No, this is going to sound really lame.
That's just because you have nothing of value to sell.
But literally, Bruce Springsteen could take $500 million and go put it in a index fund and make sure his grandkids don't run out of money.
You're boring. Because this is boring.
Because his songs are not worth as much as other good investments.
Why don't you pass out some other investment advice?
See you guys.
Dane, you were shaking your head. Yeah, like
I feel it a little bit.
Chris, I said besides the money, besides the fact that like
besides the money.
Yeah.
No, I feel it a little bit, but I also acknowledge the same. That's like, hey, you wrote these songs, you built this legacy. It's valuable. It's like you might as well like this is your life's work. You might as well like enjoy your retirement with it.
fruits.
It's your nest egg or whatever. I get that side too. So I'm not hardline about it. But I do think like I always think it's kind of weird when you hear one of those songs that's supposed to be against the man and sort of for or against the man and for like the common man, like in a commercial for like, I don't know, Google or something like that. Like that kind of stuff is always a little bit like, whoa.
And then you
Like,
learn
how did
that
this happen?
You learn that the man brought it to you. The only reason
Right.
you're hearing it is because of the man or the men.
So I don't know, like that. But that's the beginning and end of that, really, for me.
I don't know why. I just have this like I don't know, David Bowie states, why don't you just keep it? Like, are you hurting for money? Just keep it. They're hurting for money. You think David Bowie's estate is hurting for money, Chris?
I think they're worried about whether or not they're going to have money in 30 years or 50 years.
Here's what we're gonna do. Let's sell Dad's life work.
Let's steal his whole image and everything associated with it. Let's basically sell him.
My father's life worth is going to be.
It's like an estate
life
sale.
work is going to be like some really nice plumbing work.
Yeah.
Or like
Some nice tools.
Some nice tools, yeah. I guess you're just selling somebody's.
That's what I'm saying. Like
an estate sale.
Like your dad kicks it. Everyone's looking through the house. What can we put up on Facebook Marketplace?
It's like.
Oh, he had this stamp collection that was really important to him, but
They realize there's
stamps aren't going to get more
everyone's
valuable. So
name at the bottom. The rest of them.
All right.
See
Well,
when the first parent dies.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see who the next, or how things are going to decline, or like maybe in the next 5 years they're going to say that these things are getting more valuable, or I don't know. I'm really curious. See where the trend is going.
Down.
Let's get rid of all these boomers. That's going to bring us to our.
What? By the man, another great example of the boomer generation taking money out of the hands of.
100%, 100%, yeah. But that's why we can't have any nice things or jobs or
An economy.
It's all the boomers.
Social Security.
Yeah, thanks, boomers. So we thought we'd do something a little bit different today, a little bit more fun. It's a slow season, I think, for new releases. We were kind of looking around the landscape. Dane's looks like he's fading a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
No,
Yeah,
I'm fine.
look at
I'm
him.
good.
Look at him.
I'm
He's
good.
slipping into.
No, I'm getting distracted by my daughter who's
COVID
awake
delirium.
and singing in her bed right now. So,
That's nice.
yeah.
It's a slow season, I think, for new releases. I have COVID too, I think. So we actually wanted to look at the landscape for what's at least been announced for 2022 and announce some of our most anticipated things that we might actually be reviewing on the show coming up. Let's start with. I think Dane had something of no. We start. No. I'm not starting. I'm not starting. I'm not starting.
It's 2-1.
All right.
do it.
I have joke things. Do you want the joke things? Or do you want the real things?
Both.
Do you know?
At first, I thought you didn't want to go because you didn't have anything prepared.
No, I do.
This is so much worse.
I do. But did you know Avril Lavigne is coming out with a record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hasn't she been working on it with like Travis Barker and stuff?
I know.
John Feldman. That's why I know.
right.
Oh, John Feldman.
That's who it was.
That actually changes some stuff for me.
It should.
Dang it. Well, all right.
Is it not a joke one? Is that the joke one? Is it not a joke one?
No, I was just like, is she the queen of pop punk?
Pop punk is coming back.
We understand this. I'm saying, is she the queen of it? And we're anticipating her record.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
No,
right?
we're not anticipating it.
Or the other one, or the other potential queen that's coming out is Paramore, which I know Chris is all excited about. But my real ones, I am
those are your jokes.
Yeah, they're not my real ones.
Yeah,
They're not my real.
Thanks for the Foley work.
My real ones, I have 3 that I'm probably the most interested in, and they're not big swings. I'm a humongous Frank Turner fan. I was a it ebbs and flows sometimes a little bit, but his last record, which is called something about women, I forget the name of it right off the top of my head.
Yikes.
No, what's the name? Well, doesn't matter. Loved it. I loved his last record, and I was really excited when he announced. The pandemic hit him hardest. I think he's one of those guys who's constantly on the road, constantly touring. So I think he's had some time to slow down and really put out something that he's going to put a lot into. So I'm very, very excited for his upcoming record.
Quick note.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the summer, I don't know, it was like June, they hadn't announced the record yet, but he said like, hey, I recorded a record and like, I'm hand stamping like 500 copies of it on vinyl. So if you want to buy it now, go for it. And I was in the right place at the right time to pick one up.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
Like he had videos of him stamping the covers, and I don't really know much. I mean, the singles from that album are great so far.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
For real.
It's got like Poetry the Deed vibes, for me. By the way, Dane, speaking of which, in my brain, I'll always remember riding in the back seat of your car and being like, who is this? And then you being like, I don't remember where we were going or what we were doing. But you introduced him to me. The other two smaller second and third place, Under Oath is coming out with a new one this year, and I am just a stupid Under Oath fan.
Their last record was
I know.
just
If you want to just break shit and listen to some records, Under Oath is going to be the one. And then last but not least, Hot Water Music has a new one coming out.
Damn it, that was mine, Josh. I'm so mad at you.
Sorry. This was you. You made me go first.
Put out a record. They literally just put out a record.
I know, but then have you heard the single from this new one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
It's going to be a good
so
one.
Good.
It's going to be a beefy one. So I'm very excited for new Hot Water Music.
Apparently, they're going to release like different waves of variants for the vinyl, like over the
COVID.
like leading up to maybe leading
the
up to.
Omicron variant.
But they're gonna be like releasing different waves of different like colors and stuff like that as it gets closer to the release date. So like a lot of cool colors are sold out, but there's gonna be even cooler ones coming, which is gonna piss off a lot of collectors. But I might try to snag one of those, as they get announced and stuff.
Can I say that Hot Water Music? I just feel like Hot Water Music they're getting better for some reason. We're like all of these bands that we like hang our hat on. We're like, man, I love the old albums and like whatever, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like Hot Water Music, especially with the live videos I've seen of the guy from the Flatliners in the band. Like they just, man.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Dane, the problem with the way I collect vinyl is that I'll never get cool variants.
Why?
Because you have to decide. You have to decide ahead of time that you want to buy it, and that's not the way it works for me.
Don't you think that this is an album that you could probably count on as being awesome?
That's not. Yes, but that's not. It's not like Exister or something that like it's cemented its way into like my identity. I don't know that it will be that yet. So anyway, let's go with Chris because we went with Dane. Oh my God,
I want to go last.
I only got one more because mine was Hot Water Music.
You have to let me assert my authority, Chris.
You have no authority here.
I'll go. I'm
digitally
gonna
punch you.
I'll go.
I'm gonna just shut you guys up. Do you guys remember seeing Drug Church open for Thrice? So
Thrice.
they've got a new album coming out called Hygiene. I got really into Drug Church right after we saw Thrice, and they really impressed me enough live for me to be like, this band is totally different than a lot of other bands I've listened to. I want to check them out more. But their newer album that's coming out, the new single, just sort of sounds like a band who's gone from like, we found our sound to like, now we're fine tuning it.
Refined our sound.
Yeah. So I'm literally looking forward to Drug Church's Hygiene. It's coming out in March. It's going to be on Pure Noise. So, yeah.
Cool.
Nice. There are a lot of things that I'm excited about this year. Like I think the Wonder Years are going to put out a new record. Menzingers mentioned they're going to put out a new record. Blink mentioned they're going to put out a new record. I'm like tepidly interested.
I didn't see that Menzingers announcement. That's very exciting to me.
Well, because one of the lead singers of the Menzingers is putting out a solo record next month, and I'm like cautiously optimistic. I like the single from it. He's the guy that has like the more like crooning voice to him. I'm I'm excited about that. Dan Adriano has a single, a
I saw
solo
that.
record
I
coming
saw
out.
that. Yeah.
All of the things that you guys mentioned. The one thing you didn't mention that I am so excited about, that literally I think just got announced last week, is a new Wilhelm Scream record. And if you haven't caught the new single from that record, you go like, oh man, there's just something about that band where they just figure out how to do everything absolutely right. And it's coming out in April. It's called Lose Your Delusion, and I'm very, very excited about it.
What label?
Ooh, I like the album art on that one. They always have the best album art.
Hold on, I'm looking.
Best album art.
I'm looking
might
it
be-
up. I'm pretty.
It might be
Lose Your.
Creator.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Creator Destroyer, right? Is the label that the dude from Heart Sounds owns, and
Yes.
Yeah.
that label has been doing cool stuff with heavy music more and more lately. So
They did all of their back catalog stuff recently.
Yes.
I picked up Mute Print and Career Suicide and stuff, but so I don't know if maybe it is out on that label.
it is, I think, but those those reprints look really cool. Like there's represses, I mean, look really cool.
They are awesome. They are super, super rad. There's like a blood red one that I got for Mute Print.
Have they not released a record since 2013? Is that accurate?
I think that is accurate.
Wow. Ooh, that's super exciting then.
But they were touring. It was Wilhelm Scream and Hot Water Music. They were touring together last year. They didn't come anywhere near us. Otherwise, obviously, that would have been a thing we'd try to figure out. But
you quickly passed over, but I think it's worth pausing on it for a quick second, is the new Blink record. Dane, where are you at with that?
I really liked the Matt Skiba songs and everything. I got into California, but I haven't gone back to it for a while. So, I mean, I'll listen to it. I'm excited about it. I think I'd be more excited to listen to Matt Skiba than Tom DeLonge. Maybe that makes me a bad person.
You are a bad person.
I don't think so.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll listen to it. I'll be excited to hear it.
I think there's a very, very, very solid chance that Tom DeLonge shows up somewhere on that new Blink.
That's what the rumors are. I did not like 9 at all in 2019. I Chris is you look like you just caught a bullet to the dome.
In this moment, I got COVID. One of the best Blink records.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Yes,
No.
I forgot that 9 existed, guys. 9 was terrible.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
a bad record.
Thank you, dude.
It was
Yeah.
not good. There wasn't.
California was a very good record.
California was great. I kept listening to California and thinking, oh, like there's glimmers of old Blink-182 in here, and like they're pushing things in different directions, and oh, there's a little Alkaline Trio, and 9 just felt like
Here's a record.
fucking dumb. I don't know. It
it
just felt
was
like
not-
a bunch of bad beats and
Yeah,
like a bunch
yeah.
of electronic stuff that
Yes.
didn't work, and
Yep.
yeah, it
Yep.
sucked.
Chris, your taste in music is so bad. Does that upset you to find out that you've been this outvoted on 9?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Some of the
that occurred to you as you were saying it out loud. You're like,
yeah.
kinda.
Wait a second.
Hold on.
I don't think there's a song on that album that I want to hear ever again.
I'm good with that. Yeah, no.
Pin the grenade. The song "Pin the Grenade."
I mean, I might have to go. Listen, I just flushed that one.
I agreed. That's what I did too.
So
I feel like-
I might have to go. I seem to recall maybe
Now-
there being one
Now
song or
this
something.
is coming
but
from a guy with a Blink-182 tattoo right here. You know
I think
I can fully admit that I don't think that was a good record.
Some of my favorite pop punk songs are on that record. Like super. The problem is you guys don't like pop music. That is a pop album.
The problem is we just like good music. We have good taste in
we
music.
like Blink-182, who's
And the
not a
problem is
pop
you
band.
don't.
They are a pop band.
No, give me some punk in your.
They're a
pop
punk band that now is trying to move. They're identifying that they need to move their brand in another
It's
place.
funny in Apple Music that record is listed as, well, I guess so are the ones. Never mind. It says it's rock, not even punk or pop punk or anything like that. Just rock. Generic.
Yeah, it was a bad one.
Bad one. But
was a
California.
These are
California.
coming
very
from
good.
guys.
So
These are coming from two guys that enjoy a band called Weezer, and so therefore your opinion
so
is
here's
valueless.
here's my
no one's gonna buy your opinion. For
I was just gonna tell you
$500
too, like that Blink-182 album reminded me of like Weezer trying to like, hey,
this guy.
Like, you know, like that Black album is a great example. Like, hey, we're trying to be relevant and find our sound within a totally new sound.
Couldn't agree more.
And it didn't work. And there are definitely some albums by
Happy
Wizards.
Days, Dark Side, Pin the Grenade.
I think
have to listen to them
Chris,
again,
I remember
but-
Dark Side and liking that song, but that's
Because that one's pretty Matt Skiba heavy.
but that's not like a record though. Yeah.
Wow. Is
doesn't
that three farts?
This is a 3-farter, this episode.
How many farts out of 5?
Have we hit the wall officially?
Oh,
We're
for
like
sure.
arguing about Blink-182.
For sure. That's where the Blink-182 arguments
a Blink-182 record that came out 2 years ago.
got a wet fart from Dane. Dane, if it's not a wet fart, like if you had two, you can only review like thumbs up or thumbs down. It's wet fart or what?
A choo-choo whistle.
Perfect answer. All right, let's.
This one's two choo-choos.
No, you only get
That's just
one.
a choo-choo
It's
or
just
it's
a
a-
choo-choo or a wet fart. That's Dane's rating system. Let's go ahead and bring that choo-choo right into the station. That's going to go ahead and do it for this episode for Rock and Roll Brunch. Chris, you look like you're doing an impression of
Robert
De
De
Niro.
Niro.
Yeah. Chris. No, I always go Dane first. Dane, where can people find what you're up to?
Jetsam-flotsam at .bandcamp.com.
Nice. And hopefully anything you want to talk about there? Any big year 2022?
Nah, I don't know. I'm talking to a bunch of bands about cool things though. So
Sounds
At
good.
the end of the year, I feel like everyone's like, big plans. We got big plans.
It's going
Dane's
to be a
like,
huge year. I mean,
see, I'm not a label that makes a lot of plans like the year ahead. So I'm like, hey, what do you guys?
I'm not one of these
working on?
plan guys. I don't plan.
It was such a hard P. A lot of plans.
I think it'll be a good year, but there's
Nice.
nothing set in stone yet, which is maybe a good thing. It gives us flexibility. So
Chris, I don't want to freak you out, but I swear on all the YouTube videos I've ever seen, I just saw a wisp behind you, a white wisp behind you. I'm not even joking. Over your left shoulder, I just saw a white wisp over your shoulder. I'm not even joking. Speaking of hauntings, Chris, where can people find what you're up to?
Deadwrongaboutblink.com. That's
You mean
where
and your
all-
review of 9? That's your whole. Yeah.
I've started a new blog and it's just railing on YouTube for being idiots.
It's talking about how 9 is their best work so far.
The throwback Chicago.com. We had a
Two
nice
.coms.
Beach Boys. That's right. We had a nice Beach Boys live stream that
People
still very much set up around here.
Can people go? Can people check that out?
Yeah.
Can people still go watch that?
on our? Oh yeah, the whole thing on our
Nice.
Facebook.
Very nice.
You can check that out.
Very
but
nice. Cool.
That's it.
For me, it is keeping it right here at Rock and Roll Brunch. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. We have a website, but don't go there because I didn't do anything with it because nobody goes to websites anymore. Or if you have anything you want to talk to us about, rockandrollbrunch@gmail.com. And with that, for me, for COVID Dane, and for Chris, check please.